What is happening, everybody? I'm Larry Roberts.
And I'm Sara, and this is Branded, your comprehensive guide to creative branding.
And on this, what could turn out to be a very embarrassing episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about some of the most common mistakes that we make, and actually mistakes that Sara and I continue to make when it comes to building our personal brand. So hopefully you'll understand you're not the only one that's out there that is making a mistake or dropping the ball from time to time. It happens to us all.
It's funny because we often say like we are do as we say, not as we do people. Because when you look at some of the things like our clients are doing, they're killing it and they learn it from us, but we're just not doing it for ourselves. And it's getting to the point where I'm just like, I need accountability. So let's make an episode where we just tell the world how much we suck.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, but but I'm here for it. So, it's funny too. And I hate when we say that because it just feels like such a cop-out. Do as we say, not as we do. Man, yeah. That is the worst. Especially coming from me, because I've always said, you got to lead by example.
I know.
And I don't respect anybody that tells me to do something and then I don't, or they don't do the same thing they're telling me to do, or they wouldn't be willing to do what they're telling me to do. So leading by example has always been something that's super, super critical until you own a business and then you realize,
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, the biggest one is social media.
Well, I think the biggest one for a lot of people is social media. It's just so tough to stay on top of it. And they go, oh, well, just create a content calendar, do this, do that, make all this stuff in batch. Bruh. It's just,
we've done all the things.
You still have to do all the work. It doesn't streamline. Does it streamline it? Yes. Does it make it so you don't have to do it every day? Sure. But guess what? You still got to do it. And allocating that time and those resources, that's where the challenge comes into play.
Yeah. For me, I've noticed that if I'm working on something for a client, even if it's the same thing I'm supposed to be doing for myself, I know that I'm getting paid to do it. When I do, no one's paying me to do my own social media.
Well, I'll contest that. Because
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. So, but I think other people have to hear it too, is that you are getting paid. You're not getting paid directly. There's no hourly rate or a salary that's necessarily attached to it, but you're getting paid on, here's our favorite ROI, that return on impact, Sara.
I know. But it is hard, and it's hard. Like things that you do it and then they're done. Like that's easy. But this is something where you have to just keep doing it. And we've sat down together. We'll make the content calendar and we'll talk about this is all the stuff we're going to do. And then the content calendar just keeps changing months. Anyone else?
Well, it's at the same time, our business has grown so much that we really had to start implementing some processes and some procedures and some workflows, and that's a great thing. Yeah. However, at the same time, you go in, you set up all these wonderful workflows, and now you got to manage them too. So now you got to manage the workflows on top of doing the work that you needed to do, that the workflows are going to help you get done. And it just stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks. And even yesterday, I was a little frustrated yesterday. I was a little frustrated with it all, and it kind of came to the surface. But to my own defense too, I just got back from a very long trip and it was very tired. And I'm making excuses. There are no excuses for it. You still got to do the work.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I don't do, which we're working on, but like I never had a CRM. Apparently, that's a thing you're supposed to have. Did you know that?
Well, they say you are. They're like, you have an email list, right? You have a CRM, right?
I thought it was a rumor.
Yeah.
Well, I had an email list.
Right.
I just didn't have like an actual CRM. And the worst part is when I used to work in finance, they had Salesforce and I hated it. And I actively rebelled against it and refused to use it or learn it. because I thought I never would have to. And now I own a business and I need a CRM and I have no idea how they work because I actively refuse to learn it. What is, I forgot the word. The consequences of my actions. There it is.
Yeah, they do exist.
The word I was kept saying coincidences in my head. I'm like, that's not the right word.
Sip on your coffee.
Look at
there.
that. It's the consequences of my actions.
There you go. Take another sip. Just let that caffeine hit a little bit.
I need it. I need to streamline caffeine today.
This is an unexpected recording because guess what? One of the mistakes that we continue to make is we don't find time to record the podcast. If you're an avid listener of Branded, which we hope you are, you may look back over the last several weeks and there's a sprinkle of republished articles that's in there. I think there's 3 or 4 over the last 6 weeks or so. And it's because we've been on the road. It's because of this. It's because of clients. It's because of commitments. It's because of networking. It's because the list goes on and on and on. But the bottom line is that we need to record. What do we tell our clients? Record in batch if you have to. Yeah. Always have 3 or 4 in the can in case you have to go on a trip, in case you get sick, in case. And in this case, we once again did not follow our own advice.
No, we've kind of been on for months now. We'll have a guest on the show and they're like, so when is this going to air? And we're like, in 3 days.
Yeah. Because tomorrow, actually.
Yes,
it's coming out tomorrow.
You're the next episode because we're very unprepared. And if our clients were to tell us that they were doing that, we'd be like, excuse me?
Yeah, go, what?
No. We need to fix this. And for us, we're just like, yeah, no, this is totally fine and sustainable and everything's okay.
Yeah, I mean, even the last couple episodes that did get published, I think we recorded them Monday morning, got them edited and knocked out that night in time to publish on Tuesday morning. So, I mean, we were in sheer panic mode going, we got to release something. And it just, man, it bites you in the backside. So we got to make sure that we don't do that again.
Yeah. All right. So we've got not posting on social media, not understanding CRMs, and not recording content.
Not recording your content on a regular basis.
Oh, God.
It's funny, too, because I just, tomorrow's issue of the newsletter, I do the Podfest Messenger newsletter for Podfest. And the lead article is how to stay consistent during the holidays. And a lot of this advice, we should probably read that together. That might be an interesting article to kind of follow along. And granted, that's just about podcasting and how to stay consistent with your content creation. But I think some of those same things may apply to staying consistent on a day-to-day basis, even if it's not the holidays.
Yeah. And it's easy when things are like going to like on schedule and everything's normal and routine. But like my October was insane. I had multiple trips. I ended up like in the hospital. Like I got really sick. All of this stuff happened. I don't think I posted on social media one time in all of October.
Wow. That's a lot. And I was just cussing myself out this morning because I was on LinkedIn. I'm like, man, you haven't published on LinkedIn in like a week.
Oh yeah. So, no, I didn't publish in like a month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were gone for, I don't know, 22 days or something. No,
I was gone for like half
10 or 11
month.
Yeah. 10 or 11 days in one trip, just in one trip. So it makes it difficult, especially when you overcommit. So I think that's something else that we could kind of focus on there is overcommitting. I think that's a huge mistake, that we want to be everywhere for everyone at all times. And you just really can't do that. And I think you and I both demonstrated that the month of October. I'm super stoked that I did get home Sunday from my trip, and that's my last trip until January. So super excited about that because it's going to give me a time to refocus and gather my thoughts and catch up on some much needed rest and implement this CRM that we're working on and these workflows that we're working on and doing all the things that I'm supposed to do. But I think a lot of people make that mistake of overcommitment.
Yeah, I think this month was last month, October, was definitely a testament to that. And now we're in November and I have one trip and it's only 2 nights. So it's an easy one. It's next week or when this releases, it's this week. But I'm just glad that that's the only one I've got. And then I'm done until Podfest in January.
Yep.
But I think the both of us need to rein in our travel.
Dude, okay, here's the thing. Okay. I said I was going to do that. I told you. Yeah. I told everybody. I said after this year, next year's different. I'm going to focus just on creating content and I'm going to hammer YouTube and I'm not traveling. Well, I'm already booked through June. I've got at least 1 gig up through June of next year, 1 gig a month through June of next year. And I just got hit up for another one this morning, someplace in Jersey. Not sure where that's going to land. So yeah. I think I made that mistake of saying I was going to do it. And look, I turn right around and go, no, I got to be everywhere for everybody every time. And yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Stop saying, yeah, I'll do it. Dial it back, bro.
Yeah. The thing we're bad at is saying no.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of people though.
I think so too, because again, Branded as a company's brand new. I mean, it's not even a year old yet. And when you're laying that foundation of a new company, and I mean, let's just be honest, I've only been outside of corporate for going on 4 years now. It was January of 21 was when Red Hat really took off as my primary venture. Granted, it was established in 17, but it really didn't, get going until 21. So it's still new and in its infancy as well. And when you have a new business and you have a new brand, and even then, I think when I left, I don't even think Red Hat was a thing when I left. I don't think the Red Hat had been discovered yet. I think it was fall of 21 where the Red Hat was finally discovered. Might have been 22. No, 22.
And you didn't actually rebrand it until like last year officially.
Yeah. So, and my point in saying all that, it's not going down memory lane. It's to say that when you're starting new endeavors, it requires a lot of effort, and you're trying to build a brand, and you're trying to get your name out there, and you're trying to get your brand out there, and you're committing to all of these things, whether it be speaking engagements or networking organizations or going to lunches. I mean, I've had to cancel meeting after meeting and recording after recording for the podcast because I have a lunch that I have to go to in person. And it's that overcommitment. But when you're starting out and you're just starting to grow, you fall into that trap of trying to be everywhere. And I think that's something that we all need to be more cognizant of.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm like you, I've been saying that I'm going to do less. And I said this year was going to be less, and it ended up being ridiculous. But for next year, I only have 2 things scheduled. I've got PodFest, and then I'm speaking in Nebraska at the Marketech conference, and I'm excited about it. And that's in March. But I have nothing else right now on the books, and that's actually a really good feeling. But the interesting is like, before that would have felt like I was like failing. It would have felt like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
And now it's the opposite.
Well, now I think it allows you to focus on the things that matter because you've laid that groundwork, you've established that foundation, and people they know who you are. They know who Branded is. And now there's never an end point to that of building the brand, obviously, but there's a solid foundation in place, and Branded is growing to the point where more attention has to be given to the business as a whole and not so much as the brand building aspect of it. And I think that's a huge transition that a lot of folks go through, and they don't manage very well. They do get to the point where, oh my gosh, I've got clients. I got a lot of clients. What do I do now? And that can be very overwhelming. But I think that's what makes or breaks a business, is to be able to step back and look at what you've been doing and what isn't necessarily working anymore, and then reformulating that plan to make it continue work.
Yeah. Speaking of that, brings me to another thing that I haven't been doing right. I'm working with a business coach right now, someone that I'm actually working on trade with because I'm helping with his brand messaging. And he asked me, like, of all the things that I'm doing, like, what's been the ROI on them? And I have no idea. He's like, well, these last conferences, like, did anything come of them? I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't tracking anything. So I was doing all of this marketing and spending all this money, but having no idea if it was actually impactful. And that's not right. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to know these things.
Well, you're definitely supposed to know them. Well,
yeah,
I think that's super common too, because you're not really, and I think this is a mistake, but you're not really looking at what the ROI is. You're looking at we're big on saying return on impact. And I've already said that once in this episode, but that's how we describe podcasts, because a lot of podcasts, very difficult to get an instant return on that investment. But you do get more exposure, you get more attention, all that fun stuff. But there comes a point where you have to look at all the things you're doing, not just your podcast, but all your appearances, all of your networking, all of your travel. And you have to look back and go, hey, what was the net of this effort here? Did I lose money? And maybe you don't look at it as losing money. Maybe you look at it as investing money, because you're investing in your brand. But at some point, that investment needs to mature and you need to start seeing a return. And if you're not tracking that, it's very easy to go, well, I'm still just building. Well, how much have you invested? How much have you built? And when you start looking at it, you go, oh, holy crap, look at all the money I've lost, and it can be very humbling when you start looking at it that way. And at the same time, it can be a little frustrating too. It might be a little detrimental to your energy when it comes to consistently representing your brand in your niche.
Yeah. One of the things I've been feeling, I mean, I'm an anxious person, so me feeling anxious about things isn't exactly groundbreaking, but I've had this like overwhelming feeling that I'm doing too much and not enough at the same time, which is not fun, not a comfortable feeling. I don't know what to do about it, but I think it comes down to figuring out what to focus on, like what's working and what isn't, and getting rid of the things that aren't. But because I haven't done the tracking part, I don't necessarily know what isn't. And yeah, y'all don't be me. Well, moral of the story, do be better. Don't emulate me. I'm struggling.
Well, I think we all are, but it's good to be able to hear something like, hear you and I having this discussion, and other people can listen. And once again, like when I open the show, realize that they're not by themselves.
Yeah.
That they're not the only ones that are having these problems, and they need to continue to persist through the problems, implement changes that would rectify the problems, and continue to evolve in their business and continue to evolve in their brand. But that's what is so frustrating for a lot of folks, and they're not able to do that. They're not able to progress. They're not able to overcome the disappointment of not getting that massive return on, well, for instance, 3 years of travel and speaking across the country. They're not able to see that. And, if we want to break it down as simple as podcasters, most podcasts now, they all fail before episode 7. Yeah. Because people start podcasts, they have their Joe Rogan delusions of grandeur, and they end up not making millions by episode 7. So they quit podcasting. And I think that's it's very similar with businesses and brands. They quit building that business and quit building that brand way too soon. They get overwhelmed, they make the mistakes, and instead of correcting the mistakes, they just throw their hands up and call it.
No, it's hard to see the big picture sometimes. And everyone is so busy. Everyone has all these different things that they're doing in their business and for their business. So when something isn't immediately, it's like that, like delayed gratification. Like we don't want that. We want instant gratification. So this is not a media that really supports instant gratification. But one of the things that like you had said, lead by example. I have been really dropping the ball at promoting my guest episodes.
You're guesting on other shows? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I talk about podcast guesting, and I tell people you need to be promoting it, and here's all the different ways you can use it. And all of October, I didn't even think about it. And I just looked on Spotify, and several episodes that I guested on had gone live in October. And I didn't even notice. And now I'm going back and making posts about them and promoting them and everything. But I'm I feel so bad. Like I dropped the ball and I let the host down, because that's my job as the guest, is to make sure I'm promoting it. So that made me feel guilt. That
Sure.
Usually I don't actually feel guilty for not doing something. I'm just well, crap, I forgot. Let me start doing that. But I actually felt guilty for this one.
Well, yeah, because other people are depending on you, and when you view somebody else's platform to promote yourself and promote your own goods and services, and then you don't return the favor of them promoting you, it should sting a little bit. And I'm not saying that to scold you. I'm just saying that in general for everybody, because I'm just as bad. Ross Brand just released an episode with me on his podcast this morning. Sent me all the assets, all the resources, and here I still haven't even shared it yet. So when I hang up off of this this recording, I'm going to go in there and promote that episode from Mr. Ross Brand. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so the cool thing though about podcasting is you can promote it at any time. Yeah. And it's still going to have just as much impact as it had when it originally came out. And then just, reach back and let those folks know that you've been there and then you have shared it now and you really appreciate, what they did for you to either put you on their stage or put you on their podcast or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I remember one of the first, big posts that I made way back when I first started my company, one of the blogs I wrote was how to think a podcast host, because it was a question that I got during a webinar. And my answer was promote the podcast. I've had people send me chocolates. I've had people send me mugs and coffee and all this stuff. And thank you. I love this. But at the same time, the best thank you isn't a gift. It's sharing the podcast. So that is a thing I need to get better at, with paying attention to when my episodes actually come out.
Well, there's a lot of things that we all need to get better at. And again, the whole purpose of this episode wasn't to dog us ourselves or put ourselves in a negative light or to walk away from this recording depressed as all get out.
Too late.
No, I felt us starting to spiral. Our voices were getting lower, and we were speaking
suddenly
slower,
became therapy, and we are not qualified.
We were really reaching for an answer, and but seriously, the whole point once again of this episode is to make sure you know that you're not out there by yourself. We continue to make mistakes. I know we'll continue to make mistakes, but as long as we acknowledge those mistakes, put a plan in place to correct those mistakes and continue to move forward, we'll all continue to build our businesses, grow our brands. And if you have a podcast, grow your podcast too.
It's time for us to start making that plan.
All right, well, let's wrap this recording up so we can get to planning. Yes. Hey, guys, if you found some value in this episode, and I know you did.
Or just want to commiserate with us.
Yes, if you want to commiserate. I don't even know what that means. But if you want to commiserate with us, then please subscribe to the show. I know what that means. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button so we can continue to bring you these commiserative episodes each and every week. And with that, I'm Larry Roberts.
And I'm Sara Losi, and we'll talk to you next week.